Good afternoon! Now, those of you which are on the live version, can you let me know if you can hear us nice and loud and clearly? And I'm just getting myself signed into the iPad so I can see your comments, because we are recording this live. Now, I'm sure many of you have come here to see the full-blown overview to the EPP Eagle, or not, as the case may be. No, instead we are going to be taking a look at the mini-drak, which has just been and arrived. So let me move that one out of the way. Right, in here we have another one of those, and that box is probably in the way. Mini-drak, absolutely amazing model. Now, what I would like to do is start this live episode off with actually a recording, and it's a recording of the fastest known speed for myself in an RC model, and it was with that mini-drak over there, and we've got a brand new one here in the box as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run across there to the desk, I'm going to swap the screens over, and then watch how fast that little thing over there goes in the sky. It's crazy. So give a quick heads up, on the left hand side is the speed bar. Now you'll notice my other measurements are in meters, but for me, I'm based in the UK, so I'm used to speeds being in miles per hour, because that's what our cars are rated in. So on the left hand side we have the slider for miles per hour, and then the height and the distances and things like that, that's in meters. So keep that in the back of your mind and watch the slider on the left hand side. So I'm going to run back to my desk a mo and try not to trip over that glider thing, and let me go and switch the screen over, and so let me go to that screen just there. And like I said, I have walked away from my desk a second, so the audio won't be so good, but keep an eye on the left hand side over here, and I will put this footage on YouTube. And of course I did a bloody great big dive, wouldn't you? It's a mini-drak. So check the stat, 123 up there on the left hand side, and that's the fastest speed which I've been and gone in a mini-drak, and oh, brilliant. So let me get the full screen back. There we go. Brilliant. So that is the fastest which I have ever gone. Let me just make sure you can see me. Yeah, you can. I have ever gone in an RC model with the FPV goggles down before. It was absolutely batshit fucking crazy. I can tell you, and the goggles like, I just did 123 miles an hour. I was like, oh thank God, am I recording this? You can imagine my excitement on the flight line. Absolutely brilliant. Of course we went back round and did it again. Wouldn't you? Right, so a quick shout out to all of those of you which are on the live version. Now, obviously, if you're watching the recorded version, you can say howdy in the comments section underneath you. But if you're on the live version, there is a live chat on the right-hand side of your screen, whichever side that is. So a very good afternoon or good morning to Trulis, Andrew, David, Turbo Tyler, the Ritewing 1 is on board as well. Thumbs FPV, Jazzy, Leonardo, who else we got? Kevin, good afternoon. Go2499, howdy fella. Chris, howdy. Nabil, howdy fella. Lee, howdy. Who else we got on as well? I'm trying to scroll up on the iPad and it's not doing very well, so I give up. So I'm going to scroll back down again on the bottom. And obviously, if I've been and missed you, I do apologise. And howdy. Wayne as well. So you may be wondering why I'm in possession of not just one mini-drak, and there's my original one, which I had to bribe somebody over at Team Legit to get one of these into the United Kingdom before they were actually released. And give you a little heads up, after you've watched this episode, down in the description is a link to the playlist to my adventures with this mini-drak. And I can tell you, I have had so much fun with it. And we will be looking at some of the setup of my mini-drak. And I've made one or two mistakes. And I want to share those with you so that you don't make those mistakes with your model. And we'll have a little look around with this one. And we'll also get the new one unboxed. Now, you may be wondering, why have I got a second mini-drak here? Is because I do class them as a once-in-a-lifetime model. I genuinely do believe that, and at the time they came up on pre-order with Team Legit, and I put my pre-order in, and I actually bought 2. So this was in October, maybe before that, last year, thinking that hopefully they'll arrive and I'll get one for Christmas and stuff like that, and I'll keep a second one just in case I stove that one, which is, I haven't stoved it yet, so hey ho, let's go there. So howdy Van as well. Let's have a quick look. Trulis says, since my rainbow wing got destroyed, I decided to buy a beginner plane. Bought this one. What do you think? Can I FPV it? Yeah, a mini-drak isn't an ideal starter model. Let's be fair here, because they're not cheap, but they are absolutely bloody fantastic. So if you are just starting out, and maybe you're just like Trulis right now, is the what I would strongly suggest, pick a really cheap wing. It doesn't matter if you stuff it. You know, just get your unscheduled landings out of the way, get your experience levels up, and then you'll be like me. And literally, it's not, I haven't even been flying for a year yet. Okay, let's put this into perspective. I've personally flown probably something like 60, 70 different types of model, RC models in a year. And it's not hard, okay? It just takes practice. The only difference between, say, myself and the most experienced pilot, or yourself and the most experienced RC pilot out in the world, it's nothing special. They don't have some gift, you know. All they have got is experience. They've just had more stick time on the transmitter than you. It's straightforward as that. So, Trulis, don't get disheartened if you've killed a model. Get your phone out, take a photograph of it, stick it over there in the Facebook group, and there's a link to that in the video description. Just laugh it off, you know. All it is foam. Just keep that in the back of your mind. So there, don't feel bad if you've broken a couple of models. What it does is it does pave the way for a model like this one. So Morpheus, howdy fella. Morpheus is over in Switzerland as well. Let's have a quick look. I'm just looking at Wayne's comments here going on in the live chat. They are not mistakes, Matt. They are re-challenges. So with that said, let's go and get her open. Now, I'll give you a quick heads up. I already had a quick sneaky look in here just to make sure it was the mini-drak. And obviously, I've been and taken the address labels off the top too. Chris Hunning says, Matt, are you going to get a hardcore? Oh, that is a good question. I don't know just yet. I've got a collection of wings here and models which I really do need to get built first. I don't know. I'll get back to you on that one in short. The reason why I'll get back to you is because I'll probably end up giving in and buying one. But I also need to schedule that into the future. If you give you a quick heads up what's going on here on the build at the moment, I've got an F22. I've got the F3 Shadow, which many of you probably saw yesterday or the day before. We did a live unboxing of that one. I've got an FG36. I've got a Twinzoo here. I've got a wing build, which also needs to be finished. I've got another Ritewing as well, and a collection of other models, which I need to finish off as well. So, yeah, right now, I'm modelled out. I'm sure we'll get through them soon enough, and we'll get out and get them flying. So, yeah, really, really good question. Howdy Jeff as well. Oh, I also publicly want to go on record as well. Now, none of you know about this, but a couple of days back, I was a little bit rude to Jeff. And Jeff, I would like to say I'm sorry, as I'm sure you probably appreciate. I've been a bit busy with work and stuff like that, so apologies for being a bit blunt the other day. So with that said, let's get her open and see what we've got in the box. Now, we've got a checklist in here, which is, yeah, great. Extra bit of foam. Let's get that out of the way. I did know that they were going to send me some goodies in there, and we've been and got, ooh, nice t-shirt. Thanks, guys. And by the way, this was bought from Team Legit. There is a link to the mini-drak and their website in the video description. This isn't paid for sponsorship or anything like this. I did buy this model out of my own money, so I do want to clear that one up right from, well, relatively early on. As well. So I'm trying to keep half an eye on the comments as well. So yeah, that's fine. We're doing good. I tell you what, let's get in there and take a nose at the components. Now, what we've got here is the top core flute. In fact, why don't I get these open so you can have a look? That's probably the best idea. Let's open this one up. And we'll get in there and we'll have a quick nosy. And I am trying to keep a good idea on the chat as well. So let's get these open. We'll have a look. So first thing first, we've got the center, like, I want to say winglets, but they're not, and I'm going to need to put those up the right way round. We've got the center fins. Now, you'll notice that there are some triangles cut out. If I can put this up there so you can see. You'll notice there's some triangles cut out because there is a strange plastic material, very similar to what we had with the F3 wing yesterday, for some diamond inserts in there, which means that you glue them. Well, I haven't glued them in mine, but you probably really should do. It makes the because if you're going to be taking your wings off on and off regularly, if that makes sense, is that the core flute won't give. The core flute will give, but these little plastic pieces, because they're solid plastic and they're pretty lightweight, is that they won't give and they won't end up breaking over time. So we've got two little winglets. Well, main fins. We've got two tiny little diddy winglets which go on the ends, which are very, very small. Very small indeed. We've got the two bay covers as well. You'll see there's like little cut out aqua ducts on those, and I hope you can see that okay on the camera. So I'm going to pop those back in the bag and I get those winglets in the bag as well. We also do get a core flute header section as well, which what I've been and done on mine, I've taped it down on the nose and then allowed it to peel backwards, and then there's a few cuts in the lids on mine so that it can fold back really easily on the flight line. Again, an air duct on the front and an air duct on the back as well, and a pretty cool laser cutting on there. Again, I hope you can see that okay, and that's coming out on the camera. So some nice little artwork in there. Oh, and they've even etched in drak on the back as well. Let me turn that around that way, and I hope, like I said, I hope you can see that okay. But they've been a laser cut drak into the core flute as well. Pretty damn sweet job there, gents. So let's move those out of the way. So I guess in Ritewing 1 is Chris Click from Ritewing. So if you've got any questions about the kit, please do just ask. And remember, all these things are my personal opinion. And like I said, I did bribe Johnny, oops, was that his name? Somebody from Team Legit to get this one into the United Kingdom before they were even released. And I can tell you, I was a very happy boy, to say the least. We got one of the little wings in here. Can you see what they've written on there? So I take it that's Chris Click's signature on there as well. Happy days, Chris. I wasn't expecting that. Let's open this one up. We've got the other wing piece here as well. It still does have the injection molding pieces on, which are dead simple to get off with a brand new sharp craft knife. And by the way, the build on these, even though this one came pre-built for me, you can get it done within like 2, maybe 3 hours, something like that. It's not a complex build at all. We'll get to that in a few moments' time. We've got a... now I need to go careful so I don't get hit in the face. We've got a collection of carbon spars. I'm guessing that centre one's hollow. Yeah, we've got a hollow carbon spar which looks like it's been pre-sanded. That's also rolled carbon fibre by the looks of it. I would guess, and again, Chris is there on the live chat. Yes, it is. Brilliant. So happy days on that one. Saves, and again, looks like it's pre-sanded. But to be honest, if it was this one is going to be one of my builds. I think it might be going to Dave. We'll get onto that topic a bit later. So that we'll just sand them up so we know that we got a really good key on those components to put them in. So I'm going to pop that on one side, down there, out of the way. What else we got on the box? Oh yeah, that was, we've got 2 pieces of EPO foam which has been cut. Now, the reason why we've got these separate is because these are the inserts which go in up underneath the model. And then, again, it won't fit in there very well, but that will end up covering up the spar which is underneath. Spars, should I say, up underneath. What else we got in there? We've got the Ritewing motor mount on the bottom, which is... exactly the same. In fact, I'm going to get this one open so you can see this, because it's a really nice finish. Oh, and the tiger nuts, or the nuts which you put in, I'm going to just point these out. So let me get in this bag. And again, I don't want to drop anything out of the way. Get this one out of the way. So it's a brushed aluminium motor mount. There's hardly any weight to it at all. And you'll notice the way which I'm holding this around. So I'll put that up on the camera so you can see, like so. Now you'll notice that I'm holding it that way around. There is something which I noticed with mine is that, and I'll get to that in a moment. So let me just get these bits back in the bag itself. Now also, while we're looking in the bag, is that I hope that those come out all right for you. The little black nodules in there are nice big fat thumb screws, and you get these blind nuts which you can actually you glue into the model, and then when you're on the flight line, there's no like mucking around with Velcro or anything like that. You've got twist nuts with like the main canopy and the two side pockets, and if you need to get in them, you just unscrew and you're straight in, and you want to tighten it back up again, screw it back down. It's a really, really nice little touch, extremely secure as well. So let's get those out of the way too. We've got another bag of goodies which we'll get to next. We've got some more bits in here as well, and the main fuselage too. So let me go and get this box out of the way, and let me just go and put this up on the camera so you can take a look. So that's the main fuselage. So you'll notice, and I'll turn it around this way, so I'll give you a quick rundown. You'll notice the battery capacity in this is absolutely epic. Personally, what I'm using with mine right now is that I'm using a 5200 4S pack in the nose area, and of course I've got a Runcam Owl and a Runcam 2 camera mounted in the nose. So like I said, we'll take a closer look at mine. So huge battery capacity. You can fit a fair sized battery in there. You have two bays. What I'm doing on mine is the right hand wing bay. That's where I've got my receiver in mine, and I'm personally running an L9R on mine, and we'll get to like the flight controller in a minute when we have a look at the other one. And then in the left hand bay, I am running the FPV transmitter in that one. So let's go and put that one down on the desk, and I'm really curious what's in here. Let's have a quick look on there. Andreas says, what knife do you use? Let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick look. What knife do you use? Just a cheapo craft knife is the honest answer to that. Pair of Elevons. Now, this one is actually going to a new home very shortly. Dave said he's going to have it, so he's having it for the price which I paid for it, which is only fair. And what I will do is that I will take a template of the Elevons which I've got on mine and then draw them on these. And obviously Chris, if you watch the full build episode, Chris does walk you through those steps, and that's available on YouTube. But what I'll do for Dave is just draw a line into a copy of mine so that he's able to copy what I've got with mine on there. So let's get that one out of the way. So let's get this mount, well, roughly laid out on the desk so you can have a quick nose to see what it's like. Now, I did also get some other goodies in the bag. I should be expecting a Ritewing 2814 1700 kV motor. There's probably an ESC in here as well because I did get the power package too. So I tell you what, let's get in here and have a nose and see what we've got in the actual package itself. So let's open this one up, and I do need to go a little bit careful as he goes whoosh in the bag. Right, look at the blooming size of that. So we've got the Ritewing 45 amp for 2 to 4S. It's been rated for on there. Obviously we need to solder on some bullets for it. Got a decent long cable for the back unit to go off to the receiver. That's happy days. We do have the Ritewing, and that should be the 2814 1700 kV motor in there. And I'm just going to pop these bits back in the bag. Let's have a quick look. Matt, man, they did a beautiful job on the moulding on the Drak. Yeah, it is absolutely fantastic. Silky smooth on there, and it's not silky smooth because they've been in use too much mould release. Those of you which have got something like a, I hate to say it, an EPO model, is that with like the micro Sky Hunters, the amount of mould release which they stuck on those moulds is ridiculous, to the point that glue doesn't want to stick. This is super shiny and super smooth. Again, you probably want to just sand it a bit to get a nice key on there, because obviously this is going to be a model which you definitely do want to laminate as well. And by the way, it looks like it's going to be a tricky model to laminate, but it's really not going to be, because you start with the bottom. Obviously, once it's all been and glued up and you've got the spars and whatnot in there, is that you start from the bottom and you do all the bottom pieces first, and then with edges like this you just wrap it round, and then the last piece you do in on top as well. It's not, laminating may sound scary. Obviously if you're buying a mini-drak, it's unlikely to be your first rodeo, you know, so yeah, it's not a particularly difficult model to laminate at all. And again, I was really lucky, mine actually came pre-laminated for me as well, because that one there has been hydro dipped. Anyway, let's get on and have a nose in the bag, and we'll see what we've got. So again, trying not to muller stuff while we're at it. We also got some carbon fibre control push rods as well, if you take a look at those on the camera. So we got still inserts, and then we've got carbon fibre tube which goes on the outside, and then I also know that they're nice ball links as well. So we get those on the floor, out of the way. Oh, happy days. Seem legit. Transmitter one. I think I've got about 3 of these now. I probably should do a giveaway at some point for them as well. So what else have we got on here? Oh, I did grab the servos while I was at it. Now I don't know if Dave wants these. If not, I'll end up using them in a different model. They are the high-tech HS22MGs. Now I already know that these are really talky servos, because those are the ones which I've got in that one there, and I've just put it up. I can't see the ruler for toffee, but I'll put it next to my hand so you'll see the size of the servos. And again, you can look them up on the intervals so you can see the size of the servo itself. And I know that those fit in there really nicely into the wing mouldings as well. Also, what have we got in here? Ooh, now one of these nose cones is for me. So let's get these out. We'll have a quick look. It does come with 2 tiger nuts, so I assume that's so that you can take it off. I'm not too sure if that's what I'm going to do with mine. And I did see someone on Facebook in the Ritewing Drak owners group who had moulded out the nose. He'd just been, I assume, with like a hot air gun. It'd been able to mould the camera for his, and that's a protective nose cone for the nose area. And also, to give you a heads up, by the time this model is already super rigid anyway, but by the time you've run carbon fibre down the bottom, and if you went to this length, which I did, I also put the carbon fibre in down rods down in the sides here, and also, did I do it on the top of mine? No, I didn't do it on mine, but you can also put carbon fibre rod along the top of the battery bay or on the main fuselage area as well, and that really does stiffen it up too. But I did want a nose cone, so happy days on that. And it does come with a pair of those little tiger nuts as well, again, for lack of a want of a better word to describe those. So I'm just going to go and get those out of the way and keep an eye on the chat as well. Let's have a look. Great nose option. Yeah, Wayne, I do agree with you on the nose option, because it is the nose area which is going to take like the biggest amount of impact if it did ever get nosed in, which touch wood, and thank God we don't do that. Well, we hope we never do that. Is that is probably about the most vulnerable area on the actual model itself. But touch wood, not had a rough landing yet. It has been, and we'll get to the maiden in a moment. So let me go and get these bits down out the way. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this new one off to one side one way, and let's go and get this one up on the table so you can have a look at this one. Now, I did mention a couple of mistakes which I've made and a couple of things which I've been and found out with my mini-drak. The first one I think is probably about the most important one, and it's the one change which I must make the first thing in this week, as soon as I get clear from work, is the what I'll be doing is actually changing the control horns which I've got on mine. So let me go and put this up on the camera so you can take a look. Now, what I want you to do is focus over there where my finger is, and you'll see that that control horn isn't very tall, okay? Now, what that means is that we don't get much resolution in the servo movement, especially if you consider that the servo, the control horn where it goes in, sorry, the push rod where it goes into the servo, it is down a notch too. What that's actually created is a very sensitive model on the sticks, and it is tiny movements. I think I've got my servos in the transmitter down to about 30%, and it's still a little bit of a handful, which, to be honest, really doesn't faze me at all that much. It's still perfectly flyable. It's just a bit of a handful, and I quite like models which are a bit wild, to be brutally honest. I do class them as good fun, but what I will be doing on mine is that I've got some really tall control horns, and I'll be swapping those over on mine so that we get more resolution in the actual servo movement itself. So that's the one thing which I'd like for you to take away from this, is that if you've got a mini-drak, or you're going to be buying a mini-drak anytime soon, is put nice big control horns on it and get that clevis right up on the top one, and then on your servos go for the second hold down. You get more torque, and then with a combination of the taller control horn is that you get more resolution in your elevon movements. Now, also talking about elevons, one of the other things which I discovered is that you do not need that much movement in the elevons for let me get this right, for roll, okay, for side to side movement, but you do need a lot of movement for pitch. Now, that's something which I found personally, that could be because I am running her a little bit nose heavy. So what I would say, whatever movement you've got for your elevons, on the roll axis, for the pitch axis up and down, you probably need a little bit more, if not quite a bit more, and I've just found that from my own experience. Coming back into something else which I learned about my mini-drak as well, is that when she first arrived with me, and again, let me just get this round on the camera, is that you'll notice that I've got the motor hanging out here, and it's as back as far as I can make it. When it did arrive with me, this motor mount was actually the other way round, and the motor was right down here in this hole. Now, that did look super, super sweet, and it did make a fantastic noise in the sky. However, it was a bit loud, to say the least, and obviously, as you can imagine, you've seen some of the flying sites where I fly at, and I'd really like to keep those flying sites, so I did need to do something about the noise which she was making. Now, what I did is that I turned the motor mount around, and the motor mount is angled downwards. I think that's built into the actual motor mount which is provided. So the motor has got a slight angle heading off towards the nose. And the net effect of this is that I reduced the noise by about a third. It was very noticeable. It was a lot quieter in this arrangement. Now, the other thing which I crucially noticed is that it gave about a 10 mile an hour speed increase as well. So whereas before I was doing like maybe 101, maybe 102, depending if there was a little bit of wind behind us as well, in a straight line with no dive at all. The second that I changed the motor around, again, I was a little bit more careful with the CFG, and I've got some pins up underneath on the belly on this one for the CG point to make sure that I always am flying a nose heavy. Is that she will now do consistently anywhere between 112 to 114 miles an hour in a straight line without a dive and without a tailwind as well. She has done that consistently, and I can tell you in the FPV goggles, it is an absolutely amazing experience. So that's probably about the two biggest things which I've learned from the mini-drak. Besides that, complete kitting in the sky. The only thing which could make a mistake, I had a bit of a horrific maiden. That was down to the amount of movement which I had at the time, which was obviously far too much, and down to the control horns which I've got on this one. Like I said, I will get around to changing that later at the beginning of this week coming. In my left hand side bay, like I said, I've got the L9R. I do have a 3D printed antenna mount as well. Just look up FR Sky antenna mount on Thingiverse, and you can either get them printed for a couple of quid, or they take about 30 minutes, something like that, or about an hour if you print it two at a time, something like that. So I've got an L9R out on the on the right hand wing. On the left hand wing, get myself mixed up, me left and rights. On the left hand wing, I've got the video transmitter in there. Now, the one thing which you can't see, and it's also really, really simple, really cool tip actually, I kind of liked it, is that if I just grab one of these wings, and I'll show you on here. So that if you can imagine that we've got the core flute here in the middle, and we've got the spars going underneath. Now, we've got a servo in the right-hand wing, and obviously in the left-hand wing as well, is that what you can do, and what they did on mine, is that in here, using a blowtorch, or you could use a craft knife, is cut out a well in there, shorten the servo lead so that you're able to plug your servo in through the core flute, and then on the opposite side here in the actual base itself is that if you could then cut out directly across, is that if you then put a female servo connector on this side and then hot glue that out so it keeps it in place, is that you can, those of you which are going to be transporting your models, is that means that you can take it apart on the flight line if you so wish, and then put it, and again, there's not much to this model at all. If I put that like that, there's hardly anything to this model at all. So if you are going to be transporting it somewhere, or space is a premium for you, then it will compress down to a small area. But to be honest, mine's taped up and I don't intend taking it apart. So for those of you who do want a transportable model, happy days, you can make it transportable. Or those of you which want it permanently fixed together, that's what I've been and done with mine. It just depends upon your circumstances. I know some of you want to try and get this in a backpack. That would fit in a backpack pretty damn easily. So it's more of a case of how many batteries do you want to take with you, you know? Right, coming back to the original mini-drak which I've got here. If I point this round so you can have a look at the nose, you'll notice up there on the nose, there's a big hole in there. That's for a Runcam 2 to fit in the nose. I am actually using a Runcam, I need to check that, Runcam Swift, Eagle on the nose. Fantastic camera, works really, really well. You'll also have noticed the GPS unit. Now, the reason why I've had the GPS unit up on the top is because originally I needed a few extra grams in the nose area. And to be honest, I don't want to cut into the foam. It's such ridiculously stiff foam, and I'm here trying to push it in really, really hard. And it's really, really compressed EPP foam. I believe it's molded EPP, so super durable, super tough, and extremely dense to say the least. Now, like I said, I've got the GPS unit up here on the nose. It's not the most visually attractive place to put it, but to be frankly honest, it's been sat there and it works. And if it's not broke, sometimes you've got to wonder yourself, don't fix it. So I've elected not to fix it, and I've just left it on the nose. At some point, I'll move it up here onto one of the sides, onto one of the cheeks, just before we get into the main part of the model. If we look up here, let me move that around so you can see inside. You'll see that I'm actually running a 100 amp Turnigy Plush ESC with this model. Now, the reason I went for that is because there was question marks over the current draw for the motor and battery combo and the propeller. Now, that is a 7x5 prop which I run in on the back of there. Now, it shows up in the vector at pulling 45 to 50 amps on mine. It was showing way more than that, but then Chris, big hat tip to Chris Click, he suggested changing the motor poles on the Eagle Tree Vector over to a 14 pole motor, because it is a 14 pole motor, and now it's registering, I assume, a more correct value for the actual current usage. So a quick look I've got the normal Eagle Tree Vector in there, the original Eagle Tree Vector current sensor, which I've actually got the horrible one, which is actually a Dean's connector in there, and I've made mine because it was cheaper to buy the Dean's connector one rather than the XT60. I never got around to unsoldering it, so I just made some little connection points on there. And that's it, generally, for the setup. Now, I did just see a question in there, and it comes in from Lee, which Lee says, will the new mini-drak be running the Eagle Tree Vector as well? Yes, for me, Vector, running an Eagle Tree Vector in a model like this is a complete no-brainer. Now, you may be wondering, oh my God, Matt, that's going to add like an extra 175 quid or an extra $200 to the top bill. Well, to be frankly honest, you're already paying good money for what is a bloody fantastic model. And let me be brutal here. I really like my mini-drak, and I would absolutely hate to lose it. Now, I've only ever once had to use Return to Home in anger. Well, actually, technically twice, because we had that death spiral, the the Wing Z84 a couple of weeks back. But that was just trying to get it out of the death spiral, which we did, and we saved it. Before that, in like a year of flying, I've only ever had to hit the Return to Home switches for the Eagle Tree Vector to bring me home once before, and I can tell you what, it brought the model home. When I couldn't see, it brought the model home. It just plodded back, and that's happy days. So that's the thing. It's insurance. It's insurance that you know that you are going to get your model back, or you're extremely likely to get your model back. Now, personally, I see it very unlikely I'll be getting myself one of the mini or one of the micro vectors. To be honest, the normal, the original vector, it's not big. It fits in pretty much, well, put it this way, I've put it into a Wing Z84, so if I can cram that in that model, it's got oodles of space in the size of that fuselage which we've got in the mini-drak. So, and the other thing is as well, to be brutally honest, I love the OSD on the Eagle Tree Vector. I'd like to see, like we saw at the very beginning of this episode, we've got the speedo on the right, on the left, we've got our height, we've got all the things which we need to know about on the screen, and I genuinely do like the Vector. So yeah, for me personally, putting a Vector into the mini-drak was just a complete no-brainer. So I hope I've been and answered that question as thoroughly as I can. Now, I am going to be wrapping up in a few moments' time, so if you have any questions and you're on the live version, please just ask now in the live chat. If you're watching the recorded version of this one, then you can just ask in the comments section underneath this video. Now, do remember, this one was bought out of my own money. The new one down there was also bought out of my own money as well. So they are what they are. And to be frankly honest, I absolutely love my mini-drak. It is bonkers. When we go to launcher, I just on the flight line, I give her about 50% of throttle, and I just side launch her like that. Just go off. In fact, I'll show you because I've got the model right here with me. Grab her on the wingtip like that. About 50% of throttle, so you can really feel her wanting to go. And I just do that. And I'm not even giving her much welly either. Just at that, and she just goes off. And she just flies, and we get around, check the return to home, goggles down, and then throttle up. And absolutely fantastic. And if you want to see how much fun these mini-draks are, like I said, there's a link to the playlist on my YouTube channel in the video description underneath this video for you, and you will see how much fun I've already been and had with this model, and I absolutely love it to bits. It really is one of those once in a lifetime models, and I was super excited to hear that they were potentially coming out. When they came out in pre-order, I was so excited I bought two, and then I managed to get one of these a little bit early, and I've absolutely caned this one, and I've 100% enjoyed it. Like I said, I've learned a couple of things about this one. Moving the motor mount back a bit, reduced the noise, gave me more speed. Like win-win, you know? But the one thing which I do need to change in mind is the control horns, so that I get more resolution. And besides that, it's absolutely bloody fantastic. So I am going to have a quick look hit the chat as well to see what's been going on. Skilled pilot, 120 miles an hour. Yeah, the Drax is well over 100 miles an hour. Like I said, in the current configuration, I'm only running 10C batteries, by the way. They're the big green multi-star ones. They're not flash batteries. They're only 4S, you know. And it will consistently now, like I said, do anywhere from about 120 to about 114 miles an hour in a straight line. Absolutely brilliant. Or if you put a bit of a dive on her, 123 miles an hour. Now, I am missing an airspeed sensor. Potentially, I've done faster than that. So the sensor which is being used is the GPS one. So potentially I've been doing faster than that and not known it. And I do have a pit-up tube here to go on for the Vector. I'll get round to that at some point in time. So let's have a quick look at the chat in there. Go 2499. How tall should the control arms be? I can actually tell you how tall should they not be. Now, if you go to the Ritewing Drax Owner Club on YouTube, on Facebook, the taller the better. I would say about an inch tall and you wouldn't go wrong, or somewhere around that. The tallest ones you've got, obviously they need to be nice and sturdy. So anywhere from like 3/4 of an inch or taller, that would give you loads and loads of resolution. Like I said earlier, you don't need that much movement in there for the roll axis, but you do need quite a bit of movement for the pitch axis. And obviously Chris can help you out with those. And again, if you're unsure when you're buying your mini-drak, you can look, can you include the push rods and the push rods and the control horns with the kit, which I've probably got down there. I've just missed them. So good question, by the way. Let's have a quick look. I've just spotted on there. So Chris has said, I have a regular Vector in mind. It fits perfect. It stalls and 1/3 of the time of the micro. Chris, I have to agree with you. The full size, and I'm using that term, no, it's the wrong word. The original Eagletree Vector fits in there absolutely perfectly. And again, I'm just going to make the point. I'm going to put that over so you can see it on the camera. It doesn't take up much space at all. It's super simple to get installed. You go and get her up, get her trimmed in, incorporate the trims, check out stabilization mode, and then stick the goggles, well, assuming all goes well, get the goggles down, trim it out a little bit more if it needs it, then get those trims in, then go and try your return to home, make sure that works appropriately, and then you're good to go. It's not complicated. Obviously, you've seen me make a few fuck-ups in the past with the Vector, but like I said, I share my experiences, whether they're good or bad. And to be frankly honest, that's just like all good, you know? Right, coming back to your questions in there. Jake says, did you get stung with customs? The answer to that is yes, I did. £22, I think, something like that from Royal Mail. As we all know, that 12 quid of that would have been Royal Mail's fees or whatever. Or was it 12 quid or 8 quid? No, anyway, total cost 22 quid in import taxes, which, to be frankly honest, it was pretty fair, to be honest, Jake. And sometimes you get hit, sometimes you don't, you know? And I never really grumble about import tax because most of the times we don't, you know? So it is what it is. Let's have a quick look. Lee says, is there enough room in the battery to run either a pair of 3S or a 6S battery? Now, I genuinely don't know the answer to that, so I am just looking to see if I've got any 2200 3S packs over here. You'll have to give me a note, because there'll be... Yeah, definitely fit those in there. Let me see if I've got a 2200 pack. Yeah, 2200. Oh, two different brands. You could run 8S if you wanted to. Right. I'm sure everybody's got one of these or two of these in their flight bags. Standard, just cheapo 2200 3S's. You know, I got a Zippy 2200 3S there, and a Turnigy 2200 3S there. And I already know the answer is yes. You will, and again, I've got film on the back of mine, and they will squeeze in there. Sorry, I've got Velcro on the back of mine, and they will squeeze in there. If you want the exact measurements, then I can get them to you. I remember measuring them before. You can fit a fair sized battery in there. Like I said, I'm using the big 5200 green multi-star 4S packs in mine, and they fit in there absolutely perfectly as well. So let's have a quick look. There are some changes going on. Apologies, those of you which are in the US, you've gone to daylight times, and the UK was still lagging behind for about another week, I think, something like that. So apologies on the time frames. And RC Aviation says, Matt, what are your favourite planes to fly at the moment? Now, that is also a fantastic question. Right up there, and I'm going to go, in fact, I'm going to go from two extremes. I want to see it. I'll go and get it. You're going to have to excuse me. I'm going to have to walk in front of the camera, and it's up there on the shelf, because I want to show you the two extremes which I'm at the moment. And like I said, I'm going to have to fish it down off the rack, am I? Just to show you the extremes. Right, let's get around it. Sorry, I will get around to tidying up my office at one point. I'm going to go from one extreme to the other. So right now, and I've got a collection of models here at the moment, and they're all pretty damn good. But right now, I'm going to go from one extreme to the other. I'm going to go from absolutely batshit crazy, full throttle, 100 miles an hour plus, crazy FPV fun, which is the mini-drak. This one is always out with me. It's always in the car. When it comes to flying time, that one's in the car. That's right. Mini-drak, and we go. So 100 mile an hour plus, brilliant fun, just absolutely bonkers. Now, you say about favourite models at the moment. That's one extremity. It's fast. It's just amazing fun. At the other end of the spectrum, and this is why I'm glad that you asked this question, we've got a Wing Z84 here. Now this one, I get 22 minutes worth of flight time out of it. I will cover this one in a separate video, but it's heavily undermotored, heavily underpropped, and I can get 20 minutes flight time, FPV time. So sit back in the chair and relax with this one. Get this one landed. Take the mini-drak up and rip the sky. Fucking new one, So yeah, those are honestly my two favourite models at the moment. The Wing Z84, which has been set up for efficiency. And then at the other end of the spectrum, the mini-drak, I'm sure it has some efficiency. Where it is, I don't know precisely. And to be honest, I don't really care either. It's just fast and fun. It's absolutely brilliant. It literally goes exactly where you point it. And Chris said about it having like a digital response in the sky. And it does. You just go snap, 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 and you can, the rolls on it, well, because of the configuration I've got on mine right now, are absolutely bonkers. And when you take the stabilizer off, it is a right handful. And to be honest, it would probably scare some other pilots. Me, I think it's fucking brilliant. So each to their own, So right, it is time for me to wrap up now. Yes, Lee, if you didn't have a Vector in there, look, there's loads of room in there. You could put the Vector at the back if you wanted to. Yeah, you could have 4 of those in there pretty much easily. So yeah, up to you for that one. Trulis, thank you actually. So Trulis has actually put in the chat, and you can see the live chat underneath this video. He says, I want to say thanks, you make such good content. No, I actually want to say thank you. In short, thank you for turning up for the live version, and thank you for finding the stuff which I find passionate, and I'm sure you're passionate about as well. So no, on the flip side, thank you, and thank you to everybody who's been enjoying in for this live session. And on that note, it is time for me to wrap up now. I'm absolutely starving. It's been a long day at work, and I thought it'd be really, really nice to show off the mini-drak and the new one, which has been turned up here. Like I said, that one is actually going off to a new home, and very shortly we will have
2 mini-draks in the sky. So it really does depend on how quickly Dave gets his built up. So with that said, if you do have any questions at all about the mini-drak, please just ask. Like I said, bought these out of my own money and I am 100% impressed. They are absolutely batshit crazy. If you want to see some flight footage of these, I've got literally loads and loads of it on the YouTube channel. Underneath this video, it says my name, Matthew Ogborn. If you're not already subscribed yet, go and hit that red button and get subscribed. If you have a look through the YouTube channel, there are shed loads of videos on the mini-drak and a whole raft of other models as well. If you have enjoyed this evening's live session, do me a favour, press the thumbs up underneath this video. That would be very much appreciated. And on that note, thank you for joining me. One mini-drak and one mini-drak down there in pieces. It's time for me to go. And on that note, I'm off. So for myself, Matt, cheerios!